Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, while Bitcoin is still consolidating sideways in the short term, we are seeing a massive amount of liquidity build above the price of Bitcoin, which we need to pay attention to, while Ethereum is now running into the very important line of support on this weekly time frame, while Solana and XRP are both flashing some short-term bullish signals to watch out for. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin chart, and right now the price of Bitcoin is technically still within a larger bull market. If we're zooming out to this weekly time frame, for example, we can still see higher lows and higher highs, which is a larger bullish trend. But if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, as I've talked about in recent videos here on the channel, we're getting extremely close to a possible bearish crossover in the weekly Bitcoin MACD. But just over the last one day, we saw a slight bullish move in the short term, temporarily avoiding the bearish crossover as of right now, but ultimately we still need to wait for this next weekly candle close to actually confirm, which confirms in a little over 2 days from now. And as I've also mentioned recently here on the channel, if it's not this weekly candle close, it might end up being the next weekly candle close in a little over 1 week from now if nothing actually changes. So ultimately, we need to see more of a bullish move in the price of Bitcoin, at least over the next 1 week or so, ideally in the next couple of days, in order to avoid this bearish crossover. But if you want to know more about this possible warning signal on this Bitcoin chart, then check out my last 1 to 2 videos here on the channel in case you're new to this channel, because in those videos, I talked a little bit more in depth about this chart right here. And if we're taking a look at this 4-day Bitcoin chart, technically the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, technically speaking, we still have a massive bearish divergence on the weekly time frame, with higher highs confirmed in the price in the candle closes and lower highs here in the weekly Bitcoin RSI. But as I usually mention, a bearish divergence by itself is not always a bearish reversal signal. It doesn't always result in a major bear market like what we saw in 2022. For example, we saw a small bearish divergence right here in the price of Bitcoin between the price and of course the RSI, and that did not result in a massive 1-year bear market. We did of course see some bearish price action over the next 1 to 2 months, but not necessarily a massive bear market. But either way, this bearish divergence on the weekly time frame does tell us that, at least for now, we are losing bullish momentum in this larger bull market, so keep that in mind. And if we're taking a look at this 8-hour Bitcoin chart, as of right now, the price of Bitcoin is still simply just chopping around sideways, as I've been talking about and as I've been saying it will do over the last few days. Obviously, if you've been watching any of my videos over the last few days, you'll know that I've been saying expect a lot of choppy sideways price action in the short term over the next few days, which means some short-term bounces and short-term pullbacks, ultimately just bouncing around sideways like this. And that's exactly what I expect moving forward, at least over the next 1 or 2 days. It could last longer, but at least just in the short term here, that is what I'm currently expecting. And one of the main reasons why I'm expecting a lot of this very neutral price action in the short term is simply due to the fact that we are lacking momentum to either direction in the price of Bitcoin, at least in the shorter term. So we don't really have a lot of bullish momentum or bearish momentum as of right now. And also on top of that, choppy sideways price action like this is very common to see after a very volatile move, like for example this move that we saw a few days ago, close to a week ago, this massive bearish move. Obviously the price action that we're seeing right now is basically the price just stabilizing a little bit after a very volatile move, which is very common to see. And as for short-term support and resistance, we do have some short-term support at around 95 to 96,000, and below that area we have this major area of support down here sitting in between around 92,000 to 93,000. And as for resistance, we do have a small amount of resistance at approximately 99,000 based on previous support becoming new resistance, and also previous resistance at 99,000. And of course above that level we have major resistance in this area area in between 101,000 to 103,000, and very significant resistance in between around 106,000 to 107,000. And just before taking a look at some other Bitcoin charts today, first, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I take a lot of my trades right now over on Bitfinex, so I'll make sure to leave a link to Bitfinex below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim an exclusive 10% discount on all trading fees on the Bitfinex exchange forever, but that's only available if you use the link below this video to make your account and then start trading on that account to take advantage of this massive fee discount. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link below this video. And also, in case you're wondering, Bitfinex is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want Bitfinex as an exchange, there is also Bybit as another option out there, another exchange that I also trade on. So I will also make sure to leave a link to Bybit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and we can see that right now we have a lot of liquidity in this heat map building above the price of Bitcoin in the shorter term, mainly at around 103,000 and around 107,000 approximately. And so obviously, if you've been paying attention, that's pretty much exactly where these areas of resistance are coming into play. More specifically, the top side of these areas of resistance at around 103k and 107k acting as major resistance, but really just around that top side of these areas of resistance and just above the resistance, we have a lot of liquidity shown on this chart right here, which basically means we could potentially see a short squeeze start playing out if we first break out above these areas of resistance. So in the meantime, resistance is of course preventing the price from going higher. That's what resistance is. And so I would only really start to flip much more bullish again on the price of Bitcoin, expecting a lot more bullish momentum if we first see a confirmed breakout at least above this area of resistance, above around 101,000 to 103,000. Ideally, if we could break out above 103k, that could be a catalyst to start the next major bullish move, potentially up towards all-time highs. But for now, obviously, we're still waiting to see that happen. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto funding rates, a lot of these funding rates are either very much neutral or even below neutral, with a lot of the funding rates, especially in the altcoins, sitting in the negative, below zero and below neutral, which by the way, the neutral rate is 0.01% in case you're new to all of this. And so this essentially means as of right now, there's a lot of traders out there willing to pay a premium to short a lot of these altcoins just here with the negative funding rates. And with Bitcoin in particular, it's relatively neutral at the moment when it comes to the funding rates, which is why honestly we're seeing relatively neutral price action, or at least one of the reasons as to why we're seeing neutral price action just chopping around sideways. And so as I said earlier, I continue to expect mostly choppy sideways price action at least over the next 1 or 2 days, most likely over the weekend, and then perhaps sometime next week we may end up seeing something more exciting. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the weekly time frame, and right now the price of ETH is running into this very important line of support, which has been holding as support for multiple years now, because remember, this is on the weekly time frame. Each one of these candles is one entire week. So this dates all the way back towards around the middle of 2022. And every single time we've come into contact with this ascending line of support, we have seen a decent bounce from that line. And obviously right now we are testing this line, which is sitting at really in between around 2.6k to 2.7k. So around 2.6k is the level to watch out for. If we start seeing weekly candle closes below this line, below around 2.6k to 2.7k, that would be bad news, not just in the shorter term, but potentially for the longer term. But I would also be paying attention to these previous lows right here, acting as significant support at roughly around 2.3k if we were to break below this ascending line of support, because obviously while we're still forming higher lows, obviously that is still bullish price structure even if we break this line right here. So this line would be the first major warning signal if we actually confirm a breakdown, and then if we were to break below these previous lows back here with candle closes, that would be a massive warning signal for the longer term. But for now, obviously those warning signals have not confirmed. And if we're taking a look at this daily Ethereum chart, right now the price of ETH is indeed trading below this area of support based on previous resistance becoming new support, and that's sitting in between around 2.7k to 2.8k. And over the last one day, we did see one daily candle close just slightly below 2.7k, which is technically a small amount of confirmation confirming the break to the downside here, but ideally I'd like to see a little bit more confirmation, so potentially another one or two daily candle closes, considering we're only just underneath 2.7k as of recording this video. And especially if we retest that area and flip it into new resistance, that would be extra confirmation, further confirming the break to the downside. And so when it comes to the next area of support to watch out for, at least based on this daily Ethereum chart, we have significant support in this price range sitting in between around 2220 to 2360, so roughly around 2.3k, as I said earlier, as major support. But remember, we also have this massive ascending line of support sitting at roughly around 2650, right in between around 2.6k to 2.7k. And in terms of the shorter term price structure, it's very clear that the price structure or the trend or momentum or whatever you want to call it in the daily time frame in the shorter term is obviously bearish. We are forming lower highs and lower lows, breaking below support and not really breaking out above any points of resistance, which is all bearish price structure, at least in the shorter term. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 8-hour time frame, over the last one day, we actually just confirmed a new bullish divergence on the 8-hour time frame, with lower lows in the candle closes confirmed and higher lows in the RSI confirmed. At least as of right now, this has been confirmed with 2 8-hour candle closes. And some people look at the candle wicks, in which case, if we're looking at the candle wicks, the actual candle wick lows, obviously we don't have a lower low in the price, but you have to understand that the RSI by default is based off candle closes as the input data. Based on the RSI right here, it uses candle closes as the input data, which means we have to look at the candle closes in the price, unless of course you change the input data into the RSI using the candle lows, and obviously that would give you a totally different RSI output. But based on this RSI right here, which is using the candle closes, of course we do have a bullish divergence with lower lows in the candle closes in the price and higher lows in the RSI. And so as of right now, this is looking pretty similar to this previous bullish divergence that we saw back in around mid-January. And of course, after that bullish divergence, we did see a lot of bullish price action. But it is important to understand that just because we saw that outcome last time, it does not mean we're going to see the exact same thing this time around. Because usually all a bullish divergence means is that we're most likely going to see either some choppy sideways price action or perhaps a slight bullish relief. So basically a bit of a break or a relief from all of the bearish price action potentially over the next couple of days or so. But we also have to consider resistance that can of course prevent the price from going higher, where the price is most likely going to struggle at. So we have this area of resistance in between around $199 to $205, and we have this area of resistance in between $220 to $225. And so it's at those areas on the price chart where the price, like I just said, will likely struggle. So keep that in mind. Potentially, if we do not see a breakout back above around $205, we could struggle in this area at the same time as playing out the bullish divergence, which could cause some choppy sideways price action, with the price rejecting from resistance, for example, continuing to play out the bullish divergence, rejecting from resistance, and so on, causing choppy sideways price action. But if we can finally see a confirmed breakout with candle closes back above around $205, in that case, I would expect potentially a continued relief back up closer towards around $220. But for now, obviously, we still need to see that possible breakout. And in terms of the trend and momentum in the shorter term, technically speaking, we are still within a short-term bearish trend for the price of Solana. It's just over the next couple of days or so, I do expect a bit of a break or relief, which can happen during a bearish trend, because obviously a bearish trend is not only bearish price action. For example, for a couple of days, we can see a slight little bullish relief along the way to the downside. And so just keep that in mind. Even though I do expect a bit of a break or a relief from all of the bearish momentum over the next 1 or 2 days, this does not necessarily mean the bearish trend is completely over. And so when it comes to support, we do have a small amount of support at very close to $190. And below that, we have this area of support in between around 178 to 183. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at XRP on the daily daily time frame, as of right now, XRP is currently bouncing from this area of support, sitting in between around $2.25 to $2.30 based on these previous lows still acting as support, as I've mentioned recently here on the channel. But if we were to see a confirmed break below these lows just here, so below around $2.25, in that case we have major support down here sitting in between around $1.95 to $2.05, so roughly around $2 as significant support. And as for resistance, of course, we still have this area of resistance sitting in between around $2.58 to $2.73, and above that area we have more resistance up towards around $3.20, and of course in between around $3.30 to $3.40 as major resistance. And technically speaking, the larger bearish divergence on this daily time frame, which is also visible on the 3-day time frame, for example, this bearish divergence is technically still actively playing out. So at least for now, the short-term situation is currently bearish in terms of the trend or the momentum. We're still technically within a bit of a shorter-term bearish trend, but just over the next couple of days, I do expect an immediate short-term break or a relief from all of this bearish momentum, potentially just for a couple of days. And that's not only due to the fact that we're currently bouncing from this level of support, but also due to the fact that we now have this short-term bullish divergence, which is technically now confirmed with one 8-hour candle close here on the 8-hour XRP chart. Because as we can see here, we have lower lows confirmed in the price in the candle closes and higher lows confirmed in the 8-hour XRP RSI. And as I explained earlier for Solana, the RSI by default is based off candle closes, which means we do indeed have a bullish divergence on this 8-hour XRP chart. And so this short-term bullish divergence basically means we're most likely going to see either some choppy sideways price action or perhaps a slight bullish relief over the next couple of days or so, because usually a bullish divergence on the 8-hour time frame plays out over a few days before it starts to lose relevance. And so in other words, just expect a bit of a break or relief over the next couple of days, which can happen potentially during more of a bearish trend. So keep that in mind. Just because we have this bullish divergence on the 8-hour time frame, it does not necessarily mean all of the bearish price action is completely over forever. It just means over the next couple of days, just in the short term, finally expect a bit of a break from all of the bearish momentum. And with that being said, if we're taking a quick look at the price of Chainlink on the 6-hour time frame, right now Chainlink is basically just bouncing around within a sideways price range in between this level of support and this area of resistance. So first of all, this level of support is sitting at around $18, and this area of resistance is sitting in between around $19.50 to $20.50. So for now, just in the immediate short term, Chainlink is currently looking neutral, and I do expect mostly choppy sideways price action over the next 1 or 2 days within this sideways price range for the price of Chainlink. Especially if Bitcoin plays out choppy sideways price action, it's very likely Chainlink will do the same. But in terms of the larger price structure or the trend for the price of Chainlink, technically speaking, we're clearly more bearish than we are bullish for the price of Chainlink. It's just over the next 1 or 2 days in the immediate short term, I do expect relatively neutral price action bouncing around sideways with a lack of momentum to either direction just in the shorter term. And remember, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out those links below this video to claim those extra bonuses over on those exchanges. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, you can profit from all of that price action by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.